We always have Harold Hillman, our life coach and business commentator, up into the news at 1, and he's here today to talk about a pretty big issue, lessons we can learn from people who wish they'd led more authentic lives. We know that authenticity is about being true to yourself and, of course, to others. Unfortunately, some people only realise when time has run out that they haven't lived their lives as fully as they might have. And Harold was here today to share the top 5 regrets of the dying. This is from the book by the same title, written by Bronnie Ware. How are you, Harold?
I'm fine, Trudi.
First, let's talk about the author. Bronnie was a hospice care nurse, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was a hospice care nurse who actually didn't feel that she was living a fulfilling life. And then she turned her focus to working with patients who were in their final months, in their final weeks and days. And she, in just talking with them, began to realize that there's some valuable perspective that can come from people who are in their final chapter of their life, looking back. And she locked in on 5 key themes that represented regrets that people had about how they wish they had lived their lives. And she wrote this book to inspire and motivate people to just be more authentic, to live more authentic lives.
And make a real difference to people, being true and real and honest. And yeah, it makes such a difference. Tell us, what wisdom would we get out of the book if it's worth buying, do you think?
Yeah, it is. It was written in 2012. I discovered it a few years ago, and it really resonated with me because it highlighted the impact on your physical and emotional well-being when you don't live a life that enables you to thrive, where you feel that, you have a deeper level of fulfillment. And so it really, just sort of makes the case that we can always put off our happiness until tomorrow, but nothing's guaranteed. And so we can learn from the 5 regrets of the dying.
All right, well, let's have a listen to them. Can you walk us through the top 5 regrets?
Sure thing. The first one is, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself. And this was the most common regret of them all, Trudi. When people realize that their life is almost over and they look back on it, it's easy to see how many dreams have gone unfulfilled, like places that people wanted to travel, personal challenges that they wanted to push into, passions they never pursued. It really drives home the point that our life unfolds based on choices that we either make or we don't make. And I often emphasize that not choosing to do something is actually a choice. I've got a very good friend who worked in the legal profession for 30 years. She's in her early 50s now, and she stepped away from the legal profession, and she's pursuing her passion to create beautiful art. She's a very talented artist, and she's set on that passion for 3 decades, and now she's pushing into it with vigor. I've got another friend 10 years ago who, he and his wife, he stepped away from an executive role, and he and his wife now run a vineyard. It's something that they'd always wanted to do. They are so happy with their lives. The second regret, Trudi, is I wish I hadn't worked so hard. That probably doesn't surprise you. Mm-hmm. That one came from every one of her male patients, but women, a lot of women also spoke of this regret, where they missed their children's youth, their partner's companionship, just people regretting spending so much of their lives on the treadmill of work. And it really hits home at the notion that, to challenge the thought that you need as much income as you actually do. And her advice is to just simply, simplify your lifestyle, create more space in your life to become happier, where you can actually feed your passions. The third regret was, I wish I'd had the courage to express my true feelings. And this really reinforces that many people get stuck in unhealthy relationships, both in their personal lives and their professional lives, and that people really suppress a lot of feelings in order to keep peace with others. Many of her patients had developed illnesses related to the bitterness and resentment that they carried around. So this one is really about, just be true to your feelings in relationships. If relationships aren't working, try to improve them, but don't get stuck into something that's going to drain you more than fulfill you. The fourth regret was, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends, Trudi. And how true is this?
100%.
100%. She makes the point that at the end of our lives, it all comes down to love and relationships. and that, I can relate to this. Our friends are a true source of joy. They bring a lot of psychological energy to us. And sometimes we go through life fitting our friends in around other obligations. We sort of park them to the side, not realizing that we're depriving ourselves and maybe them of real joy and contentment. So I'd suggest to a lot of people, don't fit your friends in, build them in. It's really important. And then, Trudi, the fifth regret was, I wish I had allowed myself to be happier. And again, emphasizing the point that happiness is a choice, and that we can often get stuck in old patterns and habits. And sometimes it just feels easier or more comfortable to stay in a bad situation rather than push through the discomfort of getting to the better state. And, one of the regrets of the dying is that they didn't push harder to really put themselves in a sort of a happier realm of their lives. Those were the top 5 regrets, and they really resonate, don't they?
Don't they indeed? Gosh, it really makes you think, and I really appreciate you sharing those with us and taking that information from Bronnie's book, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. Harold, always a pleasure chatting to you. You're an inspiration. I look forward to chatting again next Sunday.
Thank you, Trudi.